Imagine paying $2,000 a month for an apartment. That sounds normal. Millions of people do it. You get a place to live, a kitchen, a bedroom, maybe a small balcony, nothing fancy, just rent. But what if someone told you that apartment actually costs $1 million? That sounds ridiculous. After all, yeah, you never paid $1 million. You only paid $2,000 a month. But here's the strange part. Over time, those small payments can quietly add up to something enormous. Not just the rent, but something even bigger, something invisible, because sometimes the most expensive purchase in your life is something you never actually buy. Let's start with a simple story. Meet Daniel. Daniel is 25 years old. He just got his first serious job. Salary $70,000 a year. Not rich, but stable. After a few weeks of working, Daniel starts looking for a place to live. He finds a nice apartment downtown. Good location. Close to work. Nice view. The rent? $2,000 per month. At first that sounds expensive, but then Daniel does the math. $2,000 per month is about $66 per day, about the same as dinner at a restaurant. Suddenly, the apartment doesn't feel so expensive. And this is exactly how most rent decisions happen. Not by thinking about years, but by thinking about months. And when you only look at the monthly number, you miss the real cost. Daniel signs the lease. He moves in. Life feels good. Morning coffee. Short commute. Friends visit. The apartment becomes part of daily life. Months pass, then years. And each month, another $2,000 payment leaves Daniel's bank account. But here's the important detail. Rent feels temporary. You pay it, and it disappears. You never see it again. Unlike buying something, there's no ownership, no asset, just the next payment, and the next, and the next. But the real story isn't about rent. It's about what that money could have done instead. Let's zoom out. Daniel is paying $2,000 per month. That's $24,000 per year. Now imagine something different. Instead of rent, Daniel invested that same $2,000 each month. Nothing fancy, just a simple index fund. Historically, those grow around 7 to 8% per year. Now here's where things get interesting. After 10 years, that money could grow to around $350,000, but Daniel isn't investing it. He's paying rent. And rent does something strange. It resets every month. You pay it. But it never accumulates. It never grows. It never compounds. Which means every rent payment is not just money spent. It's future wealth that never existed. Let's keep going. After 20 years, those same investments could grow to about $900,000. Almost $1 million. And after 30 years, it could be well over $2 million. Now think about Daniel again. Over those same 30 years, he paid rent. Month after month, year after year. In total, Daniel paid around $720,000 in rent. And at the end of those 30 years, what does Daniel own? Nothing. The apartment was never his. And the money is gone. But here's where things get even more interesting. Rent doesn't just cost money. It also shapes your financial behavior. Because rent payments happen during the most important investing years. Your 20s, your 30s, your early 40s. These are the years when compound growth is strongest. Missing those years has a massive cost. Think of it like planting trees. If you plant a tree early, it grows huge. If you plant the same tree 20 years later, it never reaches the same size. Money works exactly the same way. And the years when most people rent are the same years when investments grow the most. Now let's meet someone else. Sophia. Sophia has the same salary as Daniel. Same city, same job. But she makes a slightly different decision. Instead of renting downtown, she moves further away. The rent is cheaper, $1,200 per month. Not as exciting, longer commute, smaller apartment. But every month, Sophia invests the difference, about $800 per month. At first it feels small, slow, almost pointless. But compounding works quietly. Year after year, the investment grows. 10 years later, it becomes significant. 20 years later, it becomes powerful. 30 years later, it becomes enormous. Not because Sophia earned more, but because her money had time to grow. Now let's compare the two futures. Daniel lived in the nicer apartment. Sophia lived in the smaller one. But decades later, Sophia's investments could be worth over $1 million. Daniel's rent payments are gone, which means that apartment quietly cost Daniel something enormous. Not just the rent, but the wealth that never existed, the invisible $1 million. Rent isn't evil. People need places to live. But the real cost of rent is often misunderstood. Because the biggest cost isn't the payment, it's the opportunity cost. The money that could have grown, the investments that never happened, the compounding that never started. And when you zoom out far enough, sometimes the apartment you rented for years turns out to be the most expensive place you ever lived. Next time you hear someone say, "It's only $2,000 a month," ask a different question. Not, "How much is the rent?" but, "What could that money become?" Because sometimes the difference between living comfortably and becoming wealthy is hidden inside choices that look completely normal.